I had the most wonderful time yesterday, both with your girl students and the teachers. So first of all, I want to say to you, dear headmasters, that you have such a wonderful staff and student body. So please be proud of the people working for you and the students that you get to educate each day. These 2 days, we have been celebrating the Day of the Girl Child, and the day is extremely important since we all know that the future is bright when it's bright for the girls. We know that educating girls is a key for many of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to be met. Educated girls will make smart choices in the future, not only for themselves, but also for their families, their cities, their communities, and even the world. So you, as their headmaster, have the keys to make that change happen. Globally, there are over 1.2 billion young people aged 15 to 24 years old, and that's about 16% of the whole global population. And even in Finland, where we only have 5.5 million people in the whole country, which is 3 million less than even just in Lagos, we have 1.8 million people who are under the age of 29. And the vast majority of those young people are full-time students. So they, each of these young people spend majority of their days under your supervision, and the things that you do during your workday are the things that will form their abilities to be effective young adults after their schooling is done. Because young people make such a large percentage of the world's population, engaging is key if we want to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Here in Finland, we could not have the whole of society approach that we do if we didn't include young girls in our sustainable development policy work at all levels, beginning at schools. Moreover, the generation growing up during the implementation of the 2030 agenda, they will still be actively in the society after the year 2030. That is why it's critically important that they, the young girls now, are represented already today and that they will get the skills for the future. Young girls are affected by each of the Sustainable Development Goals, but they are also contributing to each of the Sustainable Development Goals implementation. Girls are key actors in many of the areas, apart from the obvious sectors like youth employment and education. Girls are peacemakers, equality builders, climate activists, and so much more if we just give them the chance to shine. As the United Nations World Youth Report states, we need to strengthen the youth participation mechanism to facilitate the young people's engagement in policies and activities that will make sure that the Sustainable Development Goals are met. This all begins at schools, where students will gain knowledge and skills about sustainable development, and moreover, skills to make their voices heard. Schools are often the first place young people practice taking a stance, practicing argumentation, and practice taking care of projects, all of which are skills to do impactful work for whatever field they might be in the future. According to the Finnish law, the students in every secondary school in the country have to form a student body, and they have to have a representative organ called a student council, where they make decisions for themselves. Furthermore, according to the Finnish law, the educators, so the schools, the principals, are compelled to give the students the opportunity to participate in the development of the education and hear the students before decision on education or other factors that influence or have an effect on the students are being made. So this is a great example on how you can make sure that your students can practice having an opinion and being listened to in a place where they are most comfortable. The position of student councils here in Finland do vary between different schools and regions. For instance, in 90% of the upper secondary schools, there is at least one of these formal student councils, but it's sometimes the way they are being heard in the decision-making processes can vary, because it is up to the headmaster to decide on how much the students are being heard. So you have the power to decide on how much you want them to be participating in the decisions. Life can be difficult for girls, since it doesn't matter where on this planet you live. It can sometimes be more difficult for girls to have an education or a job, and they might be overburdened with chores at home and taking care of the family, cooking and cleaning, even after the day's paid work is over. And this can lead women and girls to live in poverty. They can also face harassment and even violence simply because of their genders, sometimes even in the places that are supposed to be safe spaces, like schools. So you, as the headmaster of their school, can try to make these burdens a little less burdensome for your students. Despite challenges I just mentioned that are happening also right here where I live, in the country that gave women the right to vote over 100 years ago, and it is one of the most equal countries in the world, I know that girls have so much strength and power in them. So you, as their headmaster, have a lot of power in making their lives safer and better. And it doesn't even have to cost that many new resources. Often, actually, just listening to the troubles the girls might have can be resolved with quite simple solutions. Simply making the safety of girls as a priority makes them learn more, and thus the positive cycle is ready. If you don't believe me that lifting girls up is worth the while, believe our Prime Minister, Sanna Marin, who gave her job to Aava Murto, who is 16 years old, for the day last week. Even though our Prime Minister is also the youngest Prime Minister in the world with only 34 years of age, she still believed that amplifying the voices of young girls enough to give one of them her job of leading our country for the day. During her day, Aava took part of Prime Minister's duties and highlighted all girls' rights to access technology and technological development around the world. She discussed online harassment against girls with the people she met during the day. In addition to Prime Minister Marin, she met with Minister for Defense, Development Cooperation and Foreign Trade, Chancellor of Justice, and members of parliament, many of whom were also young women themselves. In her discussions, Aava emphasized how important it is for girls to be able to use and develop technology across the world, including in developing countries. She urged Finland to promote gender equality and technology both in Finland and abroad. And this message was broadcasted in many of our national and commercial TV stations. So it wasn't just something that happened, but it was also something that was very widely communicated for all of Finland. And that is why I would like to end my presentation with a video of Eeva talking as the Prime Minister, alongside the Prime Minister herself, of the importance of making sure that girls can access technology safely and that they can make their voices heard there without being harassed and scared about. And I hope that through this video message, you can also think about the ways that you, as their headmaster, can make their days at your school a little less better. Can you please share the video? We are not yet hearing her voice, but we are seeing the video.
Significant improvements in the position of women and girls, but unfortunately, it is important that girls get to use and develop technology globally, in developing countries as well. Technology gives girls and women a better means to have a job and livelihood, and a chance to realize their rights and needs. The future is digital for girls too. That is why the girls' voices need to be heard. Technologies can bring significant improvements in the position of women and girls, but unfortunately, there's still a major digital divide between the genders. We need to build a safe digital environment where girls can make their voices heard without the risk of gender-based violence, such as harassment and hate speech. Finland is working persistently towards this goal together with the EU and the UN. Within this framework, we can establish rules and principles concerning technology. Finland has been chosen to lead the Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation at the UN. Through the coalition, we are working to promote gender equality and the rights of women and girls in the gender generation equality process, which brings together a variety of stakeholders. It has gained a lot of visibility and created momentum for change. In this work, we can focus on eliminating online violence against women and girls and creating a safe digital space for everyone. By working together, we will make the world a better place for all of us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be talking with you this afternoon, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Riina. Wow. That's awesome and great presentation from you. Wow. Thank you so much, Riina, for that beautiful presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes.
If you can hear me, okay, thank you for that beautiful presentation. Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
the sake of, thank you. Do you have any questions for Riina? Do you have any question for Riina? Oh, I can see you, Councillor Yemi Adenuga. You are here already. Thank you so much. Arumire Oluwatoyin. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Riina, for the wonderful presentation, and thank you everyone for joining us here today. We're hoping that so far you've enjoyed what Riina presented to us in about what's going on in Finland and how what they're doing to support the female child. We believe today's session will be equally as interesting as it was yesterday, and we would like to encourage you to ask as many questions as you possibly can to from all of our great presenters today. Thank you very much.
Over to you.
So
Thank you so much, President Oluwatoyin Arumire, the chief.
Ted, the line is a bit.
Chairman of DoTheDream Youth Development Initiative. you. So do you have my question? Do you have? I have a question for you, Riina.
Okay.
Presentation, what Finland is doing to embolden the girl child. I think, Riina, that's a question for you from one of the leaders.
Can you ask the question again? The line was a little.
What's Finland's role in emboldening the girl child? Finland's role in it.
Yes, well, Finland is.
I think fantastic presentation on what Finland is doing to embolden.
Yeah, I think that's more of a statement than a question.
Okay, but
I'm very sorry, I didn't hear any question. The line is a little bit.
Yeah, the line very. I can hear you very well, but the line, Tyre's line is a bit. It's not so good. I think it's the internet connection there.
Yeah.
But what he was trying to say was that there's a comment in the chat box from Olayemi Oluwadewa. And Olayemi says, fantastic presentation on what Finland is doing to embolden the girl child. So there are more comments coming in now. This is from Olaniyon, says, Riina, how is Finland? How is Finland all? Oh, okay, I guess the question is how bad how do men treat girls in Finland? I guess that's what that question is.
Let's see, how can the school reach the gap between helping the girl child to be all that she can and be, and culturally limitations, especially as we find in this part of the world? Well, I think that, for instance, here in Finland, we've been a very homogeneous country for a long time, where it's been mostly just Finnish people, and the school system was built very many decades ago, when Finland was a very poor country, and we were a very war-ridden country at the time. And it was very necessary to make sure that the whole population is as educated and as skilled as possible, so that the country as a whole can get rid of poverty and the war-ridden history that we at the time had. And because of that mindset, the school system here was built very equality in mind, because we didn't have that many rich people, and so we decided to educate everybody the same, no matter where the pupil came, whether they were girls or boys, or what social class they came from. And since it's worked out great so far, we've kind of decided to continue on that path, that we are just trying to be as equal as possible, but also taking into consideration that some students need more support and need modifications in order for them to do their best at schools. So equality doesn't mean that everybody is treated exactly the same here, but it's about making sure that the individual students' needs are being met. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we think that somebody's need would be less than anybody's else, or that the student in question could be any less capable of later in their life becoming anything they desire to be, even if they are maybe a little bit behind, or they have some things that they can't really learn at the moment. Maybe it's because because of a language barrier or anything like that is going on outside of the school. So those things are, of course, taken into consideration when teachers here think about how they are teaching each individual child. But the goal is always to think that all children are equal in the classroom. There was a question on how girls face harassment here in Finland. It often happens online nowadays, because schools themselves, the school buildings, are very safe here in Finland because of the decades-long work of anti-bullying and anti-harassment work that's been done. But unfortunately, we still live in a culture where it is somewhat okay to bully people if nobody is seeing it directly. So it happens often online, or during their way to school. There might be some people calling them names or even physically harassing them. Unfortunately, that still happens even here in Finland. But at the moment, we are really trying to focus on online harassment, because that's something that the girls can't really escape, because many also the good things in their lives is online.
Thank you very much, Riina, for that detailed explanation. Are there any more questions coming through?
I think so. Thank you so much, Riina, for that beautiful presentation and for answering those questions. We will move straight to the next session, and I'll be calling on Mrs. Ogumefun, one of the school principals here in Lagos, to actually share one or two things she has been doing in inspiring girls in our school. Over to you, Mrs. Ogumefun. She's a principal of Community Senior School. Over to you, Mrs. Ogumefun, if you can hear me. Mrs. Ogumefun, can you hear me?
Standing on the existing premises.
Okay, if Mrs. Ogumefun is not ready, is Mrs. Beckley ready? Beckley.
Okay. Standing on the existing premises, I am Ms. Ogumefun Mojisola Olapisi, the principal of Community Senior Secondary School. I'm here to lend my voice to the International Day of the Girl Child with the theme, My Voice, Our Equal Future. The aims of the Girl Child Day are to promote girls' empowerment and fulfillment of their fundamental human rights, to highlight the challenges confronting the girl child all over the world and the way forward. Who is a girl child? The girl child is a biological female offspring from birth to 18 years. They are talented, brilliant, and beautiful. So we must ensure that all of them have equal opportunity for a bright, safe, and healthy future. Challenges facing the girl child. The challenges facing the girl child are numerous and complex. These challenges include domestic violence and child labor, poverty, early marriage, broken homes, sexual harassment and abuse, and other harmful traditional practices, such as female circumcision, just to mention a few. In addition, the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has increased the risk level and vulnerability of the child to various abuses and maltreatments. The way out. Education and skill acquisition. Education and skill acquisition are two of the best ways to empower the girl child and protect her against all forms of abuse and exploitation. The girl child needs to be empowered through formal and technical education in order for her to advance her status in the society. In this light, we give kudos to the Lagos State government for making education free, compulsory, and accessible to the girl child, as well as for providing a safe and conducive learning environment for her. Our schools have continued to provide girls with modern skills, family life, and a productive health education, and a social space to ventilate their views and ideas. Also, we have experienced counselors in our schools to guide and advise them on personal issues as the need arises. In addition, our schools collaborate with other government agencies such as the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, skill acquisition centers, technical colleges, non-governmental organizations, etc., on issues concerning the girl child. The platforms provided by all of us have helped many girls discover and develop their potentials. The importance of girl child education cannot be overemphasized because it is transgenerational. Every girl child that receives education is bound to raise educated children who then grow to transform the larger society. The Child's Rights Act should be strengthened and implemented in all 36 states of the Federation. This will go a long way in checkmating indiscriminate abuse of their rights. Policymakers must create an enabling environment for educated girl child to grow to become a confident, successful, and an independent woman who can contribute meaningfully to national development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma, for that wonderful presentation. we really appreciate you, and we believe that it will go a long way to help all our listeners, to educate them and to inform them on the way forward. I would like to now introduce Mrs. Rachel Adeshola, the principal of Ojodu Grammar School, to deliver her presentation. Thank you very much.
Yes. Good afternoon. I don't know if everyone can hear me. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Olumadewa. I am Mrs. Rachel Oyenike Adeshola, the principal of Ojodu Junior Grammar School. I want to start by appreciating Lagos State government, our governor, His Excellency, the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu. I also want to appreciate our Commissioner for Education, the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo. My TGPS Education District 6, Mrs. Oludara Okelola, for this laudable program, because they have given us a voice. They have made it possible for our students to enjoy this virtual program. Now, I want to start by defining the theme for this year's International Girl Child Day, which is My Voice, Our Equal Rights. I see it personally as an avenue or ability of every girl child to express themselves as their male counterparts, having equal opportunities everywhere, all over the world. You know, for this to happen, our girls must be prepared. And the preparation starts now, because nobody can hear the voice of a failure. If our girls are not successful, nobody appreciates them, nobody listens to them. Now, what do we do to get them appreciated? Because every girl has her own innate, unique ability that must be developed in order for them to be heard. In passing this message across to our girls in Ojodu Junior Grammar School, what we do is employ 4 simple methods: the 2 W's and 2 H's. The 2 W and 2 H's. And what is that? What do we do to empower them? Now, we have many systems in our school that are connected to the internet. And our girls have been trained to browse the internet. They are very computer savvy, and they can interact with girls all over the world. They have been trained by Google in CS First training. That has helped them to lay the bedrock for computer appreciation. And you see them eager all the time, wanting to come into the computer room to do one thing or the other, because internet is available, provided, of course, by the state government. Now, we make sure that we engage them. We engage them at all times. We have wonderful personnel that are ready to assist them anytime they want to come into the computer room. Even if it pertains to their personal life, their emotional problems, their academics, we are ready to assist them so that we can develop confidence in them, in them. Confidence that will make them to be able to stand and, freely express their opinions freely. And why do we do this? The world is a global village now, and competition is high. It is not just enough for a girl child to pass written exams and obtain certificates. The confidence must be there. There are other skills that she needs to have in order to be able to compete favorably with the male gender. Because many challenges are there waiting for the girl child. And you know, so many roles that a girl child has to perform in the future. She performs the role of a wife, a mother, a kinsman, you know. So many roles are expected. In her place of worship, she has a role to perform. In the in-laws' house, she has a role to perform. If girls are not well prepared and confidence is instilled in them at the right time, they may not be able to adequately and successfully perform all these roles. Now we have so many of our girls that have competed in both national, state, and district level, and they have excelled in many competitions. Because of our time, I do not want to begin to reel out these performances. They are sterling performances, but to mention a few. The NIPOS essay writing competition, 2 of our girls, they came first and second. Honorable Dr. Lola Konde Motivational Award, 1 of our girls, she came third. Various intra-district competitions, some of our girls, they have performed extremely well. Now, how do we do this? We create an enabling environment for our girls to see us as their parents, to see us as their friends. They can come to us, discuss their emotional problems. They can call us on phone at any time because our phone lines are open to them at all times. When they call, we don't shun them off. We don't make them feel that they are disturbing us. Rather, we encourage them to tell us our problems. And we also, through the co-curricular activities of the Girl Guide Society, we teach them a lot of skills, educate them, do advocacy. And the girls have, have started building great confidence in themselves. In the cases of child abuse, we liaise with the district social welfare officer who comes promptly to attend to such issues. There was even a case when the father beat the girl mercilessly. He did not allow the girl to carry the books simply because the mother left him. And he was taking that out on the girl, seized the uniform, seized the bag. When we called him, he was telling us that he was not going to come. But by the time he discovered that we have involved government through the district social welfare officer, immediately he changed his mind and he started begging and he started denying. So we do a lot to protect our girls, to ensure that nobody harasses them, nobody marginalizes them, that their child rights, that their rights are not abused in any way. Pardon me. Now, to achieve this, as we all know, a tree cannot make a forest. Nobody can walk alone. We achieve this through teamwork. And it simply means together, everyone achieves more. So the VPs are involved, all the HODs, the year tutors, the teachers, the counselor, we come together as a team to ensure that our girls are protected, to ensure that they are prepared for the future, to ensure that we build confidence in them, so that wherever they go, they can speak out for themselves. And as they continue to do that, it is our belief that we are raising girls that will fit in properly into the society, that will be able to compete globally with the male gender, that will be able to occupy positions of authority to enhance the rights of the female gender. At this time, I want to appreciate the organizer of this program, the coordinator of the DoTheDream Development Initiative that is anchoring this program, Mr. Tayo Olumadewa. We say a big thank you to you. We are really, really happy because this program has opened endless possibilities to our girls. Once again, I want to thank everybody that took part in the organization of this program, not forgetting the Lagos State government that has provided all the resources that we are able to use to develop these girls. The Honorable Commissioner, once again, my TGPS, and everybody, every stakeholder in Lagos State education. I say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. That was a very, very wonderful presentation. And yes, girls should be well prepared and be appreciated, and they need to be heard. They need to have the confidence instilled in them. And thank you for everything you're doing to continue to help our girl child. Before we proceed, I would like to recognize the presence of our Tutor General, Mrs. Oludara Okelola, the Tutor General for Education District 6, Lagos State Ministry of Education. Thank you very much for your presence, Ma. We appreciate you and we recognize your presence here as well. Thank you for all you're doing to make this program a very, very successful one as well. I'll then like to call on Mrs. Augustina Beckley, the principal for Oshodi Senior High School, to deliver her presentation. Thank you very much. Mrs. Augustina Beckley, if you're there, can you please unmute yourself so that we can hear you? Thank you, Ma.
I guess maybe she's not online. Mrs. Augustina Beckley, can you hear us? It's your turn now. We are waiting for those beautiful words. If we can't hear you, His Excellency, maybe we switch to the counselor. If Mrs. Beckley is not around, should we switch to counselor immediately? Echi, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. While we're waiting for Mrs. Augustina Beckley, I think we would like to introduce the counselor, Counselor Yemi Adenuga, who was very kind enough to share some wonderful experience with us yesterday, imparted a lot of words of wisdom to all our ladies, and even to everyone that was present yesterday. There's so much nuggets of golden nuggets, coming from Counselor Yemi Adenuga, and we'll be very, very glad to hear you share them with us again and share with everyone here today. We welcome you to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I am super grateful. And thank you once again, DoTheDream, for this amazing initiative. Tayo, I just want to congratulate you once again. I know I did that yesterday, but I have to be honest with you. I am super delighted for the success of this initiative. All protocols observed. I want to just say thank you so much for having me once again to share on your platform. It is indeed an honor that I don't take for granted. I want to congratulate all the principals who are here present today. I am happy for you because having listened to some of the great works that some of the principals are doing, I believe strongly that if we are able to multiply some of those, Nigeria will be a better place. Nigeria will be not just a better place, but a better place for our girls. Having said that, there is still a lot of work to be done. I want to thank Riina. I don't know if Riina is still here, for the amazing presentation earlier on. I think Finland is a country that is doing such an amazing job in terms of education, having come so far, and is leading many areas, even in Europe. So I'm delighted that she was here to be able to share of the great work that is going on in that country. So I'm going to share briefly about the Irish educational system, and then I'm just going to speak to our principals who are here, our leaders who are here today. And I hope that, I know I'm your daughter for most of the principals who are here and the leaders in the schools. I'm your daughter, as it were. But you know this thing we say about you teach and then you become the learner. So the student becomes the teacher, yes? So that's what's happening today. So just a little bit about the Irish educational system. So it's made up of the primary, the secondary, the third level, and further education. So it is state funded. In Ireland, education is free, unless, of course, you choose to send your child to a private school. That means you pay for that education. But generally, education is free in Ireland. And some initiatives focus on child at risk, and they are funded by the Department of Education. So if you have children who are at risk, there's a separate initiative for them that looks after them. So the Program for International Student Assessment, PISA, which takes place every 3 years, ranks Ireland 4th out of 36 Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development countries, and 3rd out of 27 EU countries for reading literacy. So only a few countries come ahead of China, ahead of Ireland, and China is one of such countries, Singapore, Estonia, Canada, and of course, Finland. So I don't know if Riina is still here. Finland, again, takes the lead there ahead of Ireland in terms of the ranking for education. Ireland has held its position in an international ranking of higher education system, despite the public failing to match expanding third level enrollments. The country is still doing tremendously well. So it remains 19th overall out of 50 countries. That's higher education systems. And this ranking was done in 2018, the universities ranking. So Ireland is doing incredibly well in terms of education. And as you know, there are many Nigerians who have come through the Irish educational system. So education for women and girls in Ireland is developed significantly. And this has grown over the past number of years. So in times past, the state would not have recognized women to be educated. So say if we go back to the periods of the 1830s into the early 19th century, like 1910, formal state-funded education system were established in Ireland then by the British government. And women were there encouraged to become educated. So let's come to today. What's the educational system in Ireland? Students must go to school. So from age 6 to 16 until they have completed 3 years of school level of education, they must be in school. So under Ireland's constitution, parents are not obliged, in violation of their conscience and lawful preference, to send their children to schools established by the state. But they can send their children to schools, private schools, but the children have to go to school. So Ireland is doing incredibly well. And we get that. Ireland has equal access for all. In this country, girls are encouraged to go to school as much as boys are encouraged to go to school. And they encourage the schools to explore all aspects of possible careers for children. So once you're in secondary school, the 4th year is what is called the transition year, where students then have to experience a potential career. They have to do work placement and then come back to school for the 5th year and continue their education. Now, in times past, you wouldn't have found girls, taking part in that. But in recent years, girls have been encouraged tremendously to take part in the transition year. Some can skip the transition year, and a lot of people do, but a number of people are encouraged to do that. Now, when you look at Ireland today, there are a number of women who, of course, were once girls, who are taking up positions of leadership. And that is because the country has focused increasingly on educating, encouraging, empowering, inspiring the girl child. Let me talk about myself, even being a migrant in the Republic of Ireland, and how even being a migrant, how I'm inspired and empowered to give back to the educational system in Ireland. So I come from Nigeria. I mean, by my name, you can tell I'm a Nigerian. And, I grew up in a system in Nigeria or a culture, as it were, not necessarily a system, but a culture where, as a girl child, I was not given a chance. I don't know if some of yourselves were at the event yesterday, and I shared a bit of my story. I wasn't given a chance. I come from a background where my father had 7 wives and 27 children. And I always share this story because it is my reason for success. And why am I going to share it with you today? Because I want to encourage you as heads of schools to give your girls in your schools reasons to succeed. When there is no purpose driving a person, there's always the chance of distraction. And as you will know, our girls get distracted so easily by many factors. But we have to give them a purpose, give them a reason. And sometimes the things that are perhaps the failures are the best reasons to give them to be their success. So I grew up in a background where I was told I was going to amount to nothing. My mother was the last wife of 7. And my mother had only girls, 6 girls. So it's interesting we're talking about the girl child. I came from that background where, as a girl, I was told that all of my mother's girls, the 6 of us, were going to end up on the streets of Lagos as prostitutes. My father's last wife, second to the last wife, when she left my father, she left behind 4 other girls. So my mother raised 10 girls. And so the 10 of us were told we were going to amount to nothing. And that very reason became my motivation to succeed. I was told I was going to be nobody. And all the odds were against me to be somebody. So I made a decision that even though I didn't know what I was going to become, and so there may be so many girls in your school today, in your schools, who are not sure what they want to become. We can't force the girls to become something yet because they might not even have an idea. But part of your leadership skills are to help them see potentials. So even though I didn't know what I was going to become.
It's not talking.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay. So even though I didn't know what I was going to become, I knew what I was not going to become. I knew I was not going to end up on the streets. So perhaps one thing that, as leaders in your schools, because you are leaders in your school, in your various schools, as leaders in your schools, perhaps one thing you can add to the amazing work you're already doing is to encourage your girls to see that even though they don't know what they want to be yet, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It means they have options and they can explore options. But they have to see the options available to them. They have to see the various options. So I was blessed to have been able to see options. I was blessed by a teacher at the time who encouraged me to use my skill, my talent that I didn't even know existed. He told me the power I had when I spoke and encouraged me to be in the Literary and Debating Society. This was a teacher. And I tell you honestly, a lot of the things that I do today were shaped by that one teacher. and of course, several other people who became mentors in my life. What's the point I'm making? A number of the things you do today as leaders in your school will impact on your students for a lifetime. You are role models, you are motivators. I want to add one thing to that, that you are a team working with your teachers. Your teachers look up to you. Whether you like it or not, your teachers look up to you. When I was in school, I used to watch how teachers, some will quiver when they see the principal or the headmistress for fear. Your teachers don't need to be afraid of you. They actually need to see you as the go-to person when they are stuck, especially the female teachers, because as women, we understand our challenges. So when the girls see how the female teachers are growing and are encouraged by yourselves, it gives them inspiration that there are women ahead of them who can inspire and encourage them as well. Representation is key. Representation is key. I've lived in the Republic of Ireland now for 20 years. I came to Ireland in the year 2000. And prior to that, when I worked in Nigeria, I worked in the broadcast industry. I worked in radio and television. And when I came to this country, I had to start from the beginning, building my way all the way up. And last year, so I worked in a number of places. I worked with IBM as a cost accountant. I did several jobs and all of that bit. But I want to bring you to that issue of representation. Last year, the year before that actually, 2018, I was approached by the ruling party of this country, Fine Gael, and the prime minister. Here I was, a young girl, and I'm emphasizing the word girl. Here I was, a young girl from a small village called Ikperu. For those of you who know Ikperu, I am super proud to be a Remo girl. Yes, I'm an Irish woman now, but I never failed to remind people that I came from a humble background as a girl who was never given a chance. I'm emphasizing this because as leaders in your schools, you have a role to show representation to your girls. What you see, you can become. It's sometimes a little difficult if you can't see it. And so when in 2018, I was approached by the Prime Minister and the ruling party, members of the ruling party, to represent the party in the local elections in this country. At first, I thought, why are you asking me to come into politics? I'm not a politician and I'm not interested in politics. I said no the first time because I thought politics wasn't my thing. And they sent representations again. And they asked me to come to the national headquarters to meet with the national secretary. And I did. And I tell you honestly, the conversation we had for the good part of almost 2 hours changed the course of my career. The one thing that that man said to me was, he said, I have listened to you in many conferences because I speak, I'm a speaker, a global speaker, and I speak at conferences and I get invited to speak in different places. This was a skill that a teacher discovered in me when I was in Form 4 and encouraged me to develop, a teacher. And so he said, I've listened to you at a conference before, and I heard you say that everything we do is about people, whether it's politics, whether it's education, whether it's whatever it is about people. And there's no success of those things without people. And I said, but I don't know anything about politics. He said, you know about people, and that's what we need. And the reason they'd asked me was because I was already involved in my community of Navan ever since I moved into that community. And so I ran in the elections last year, 2019 of May, and I won. Of 16 candidates in my constituency, there are only 7 seats. 16 candidates ran for only 7 seats. And it's amazing that a small girl from Ikperu made history in a country that is not her own. In the Republic of Ireland, I won and I became the first Black female councillor in the Republic of Ireland. And that is written in the history book of this country. Today, just last month, The publishers of educational material, educational textbooks in Ireland sent me a copy of a textbook for schools that they'd written me into. And what does that mean? Students in Ireland will be studying about Yemi Adenuga. Why am I sharing this? This was the power of one teacher who taught me to believe in myself. And that's the power that you hold. And now, just because I was able to win that election, a number of young girls are now in my mentorship program being empowered and built to believe that they can become whatever it is they want to become. If a grandmother like myself can do this, there's no reason why young girls cannot even be better. And that's the message I'm bringing to you, that we have to show our young girls representation. So today I go to schools. Well, since COVID started, we've not been able to do that, but we're starting to do it again online. Today I go to schools in the Republic of Ireland, and I speak with young people about exploring their options. I teach them through this book, right, which I wrote a couple of years ago. It's called The Exploring Options, a guide to career path. And it shows young people, especially our girls, how to use the skills they already have to begin to build their confidence. I'm delighted that one of the teachers earlier on spoke about building the confidence of our girls. This is key. This is very key. And you hold the power to do that. How? Encouraging the girls in the presence of every student, any student of yours who does an incredible job, who excels in what they do, who perhaps on a weekly basis does something outstanding, let the others know. Recognize them, celebrate them, help them feel that what they're doing is right and is good. It's not only on prize giving day. So those are days set aside specially. Surprise the students every once in a while. Let them know that surprises abound. Now, I am on the board of 2 schools in my town here in Ireland. One of the schools is a primary school, and I'm the chairperson of that board. And the other school is a secondary school. And I'm one of the members of the board of director of that school. And in the schools, the members of the board are key to policy making. And the headmasters and the principals are also a key part of that. Why am I sharing this? Please start feeding into policies. Your role is not just to lead your school, but also to inspire policies. You are the key to successful education. You're the ones who deliver the policies on education in Nigeria through your teachers. You lead that team. So if you understand the policies because you bring them to life. If they're not working, please do not be quiet. Speak about what should work through your board. Another key thing I want to bring to you today is please be able to advise your board. Yes, the board, if it's a private school, the board might be made up of parents or people who are owners of the school themselves, but they rely a lot on you. This is where you hold power. And so if you feel that there are things that should be focused on helping to develop the girls, do not be afraid to speak those things so that they are written into policy. Things that are not in policy are very hard to implement. So you are policy makers yourselves, and you must remember that in everything that you do. I'm going to bring this to a quick close now and just remind you that you are team leaders, and your teachers must feel that. Your teachers must know that they are led by people who have their concerns at heart. And at the same time, your girls in your schools must see you as the role models through your actions. I think it's key that in every school, the schools that I'm on the board, the values of the people who lead them are also very key to the values of the school. Please share your values and let them come to life in everything that you do in your school. Let your students know that building a value, especially the girls in your school, that building values for themselves is key to being successful. Help them know how to build values and let them develop their values so that those values guide them in life and stop them from making mistakes. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave that at that. And if there are any questions, I will be happy to take them, or we can have a conversation. Thank you very much.
We'd like to say very, very, very big thank you to Councillor Yemi Adenuga for that, once again, very powerful presentation to us. Teachers are role model, and the words they speak can shape our future. So we thank you so much for that. In the next few minutes, we would like to take some questions, or if you would like to have a quick conversation with Councillor Yemi Adenuga. But before we do that, we want to quickly recognize the presence of the TGPS. We'd like to recognize the presence of the TGPS. We believe she would have some very powerful and goodwill message for us as well before we continue. So we'd like to welcome Mrs. Oludara Okelola, the Tutor General, Education District 6, Lagos State Ministry of Education, to give us a very quick word. Thank you very much. And while we're waiting for her, please put all your questions in the chat box, because Councillor Yemil will definitely respond to all of them. We can't hear you, Ma. I think your mic is on mute, Ma.
Hello, is she here?
I don't know. I can't see who it is, but we might have to ask her to unmute. She might not be able to do it herself.
Okay.
Okay, while we're waiting to hear from the TGPS, I think we can take some questions and then we'll go on mute once our audio has been fixed. Thank you. So let's run through some of the questions that we have here for Councillor Yemi.
Yeah, and while we're doing that as well, I just want to quickly add here that one of the things that is in just spinning the world around presently is being computer savvy. I think that it's key that principals in school, Riina had mentioned that earlier, and I made it a point not to repeat what had been said previously. I tried as much not to do that, but I think it's one key thing that has to be reiterated, that it's important that we begin to help our girls become computer savvy. They have to be IT savvy, which is key. There's a young group here, and I am so excited that they are a young Black Irish group. These are young girls who represented Ireland, but they're actually Black girls. And they're not just Black girls, they are Nigerian girls, right? So they're migrants in this country, but they're Irish girls. And they represented Ireland in the Technovision International competition this year. And they won. They won for the Republic of Ireland. And they developed an app called, I think it's Memory Haven. Memory Haven is an app that is meant to help patients with dementia. And it's just gone, that app has just I think there's so many interests shown in developing it even further, and medical experts are interested in it. Now, these are young girls who are all under 18 who came together to develop an app. So it's important that we inspire girls. In times past, you probably would have seen boys doing those kind of things. But today, the message is different. So please help to encourage the girls. If there are schools here in this conference that do not have enough laptops and computers and are not connected to the broadband yet, I don't know if you use broadband in Nigeria, whatever it is that you require, I don't think it's that thing where you just have to wait for it to be delivered to you. As leaders of the school, you find every avenue available to ensure that it's delivered and that your school is computer savvy. Very key. So I'm just going to see if there are any questions. Are there any questions there for me? Okay, I think there are more of comments than questions. And thank you everybody for your comments. Thank you very much. I appreciate them.
The TGPS is here.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, we can
okay.
hear
Good
you.
afternoon. It's okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, our counselor, Yemi Adenuga. We are so grateful for the grace you have given us to be able to attend this program for 2 days of your time. Riina, we are very, very grateful. We thank God for your life. Toyin, we are grateful too for co-hosting this program. And we are saying thank you to our principals. Like 2 of them had already shared, and we are still waiting for Mrs. Beckley to share our own experience as a principal. And you know, the thing is that before you become a principal in Lagos State, you are expected to have had experiences. First, you are a teacher most of the time, an HOD, head of department, you are year tutor, and over time, you have experiences with these children, with these students. And you are also a vice principal. And in Lagos State, a vice principal is like an alternate principal. So that means if for whatever reason the principal is not on ground, the vice principal takes charge of the school. And Lagos State encourages women to do what they are meant to do. And one thing we know is that our principals are life molders. They are molding the lives of our children. They are exposed to so many children, like Councillor Yemi said, a lot of students, the experiences they have are molded and they are shaped by the teachers that they pass through. And I'm sure that so many of us too had the experiences of our teachers who shaped our lives. And I can assure you this afternoon, for our international people, that Lagos State is doing so much to bring out the best in our girls. We believe that our girls have future. We believe that our girls, that their talents, their gifts, like the first speaker, Mrs. Ogumefu said, we have a lot of challenges that are facing these girls. And one thing we do in the school system is we affirm these children. We make them know that all those gifts, all those talents, all the skills that they are being brought to the fore through the school system. And Lagos State is doing so much to encourage the girls. And one thing I can assure you is that in Lagos State, at the primary and at the secondary level, education is free. And the slogan for the primary school is leave no child behind. And when I say leave no child behind, that means leave no girl, leave no boy behind. Thank you, and God bless you. We are very grateful. Hello?
Oh, thank you very much for that. I'm just having to take over from Toyin because he's had to go off and do the school run. So thank you so much. Really appreciate what you said, and appreciate all the speakers today so far. So I think what are we doing now, Tayo? Can you unmute yourself? Or can you hear me?
Okay, thank you so much. We're still running the program with Councillor Yemi Adenuga. We're still running the program with her.
Okay, so are we taking questions?
Hello, can you hear me? Marianne?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Councillor Yemi Adenuga on some of the questions and some of the observations that she would like to input in. Yes, we are taking questions on what you have been doing and encouraging you.
Sorry, just 1 second.
Okay, we are taking.
I'm going to mute everybody and unmute you.
Questions from Councillor Yemi Adenuga.
Council, yeah, can you unmute the councillor?
Yes, I am here. I can hear you.
Great. Okay.
Councillor Yemi, over to you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question from you.
Okay, for me, go ahead, please. You have a question for me. Please go ahead.
I think there's a delay. I think there's a little bit of a delay.
Oh, okay.
I think so. So, Ty, can you? Okay, let me. While we're waiting as well. Yeah. I think there's a bit of a delay in technology.
Yes, I know.
Can't hear you. So
well, I suppose while we're waiting, one thing I could do is just to add that I'm looking forward to working with all the principals here. We're going to be rolling out our Exploring Options training program with Lagos State. So we're going to get into conversations about that. And so I look forward to working with every single school that is here represented. I think that it's important that we begin to further inspire girls and help them know that they can be anything. They really, it's not just a cliche, but it is a reality. It is true. And when they see, it makes it easier for them. They can be anything they want to be. They can be whoever they want to be. Gone are the days when we have to force our girls to be doctors or lawyers or, what we think. When I was growing up, we were told if you're not a doctor, if you're not a lawyer, if you're not an engineer, you're nobody. There's one more that I'm missing there. There were 4. And that you're nobody. But today we see young girls who are doing incredible things and who are making their families, who are making their country, who are making their communities proud of them, So whatever it is that they do, that makes a difference, that also delivers the sustainable development goal. I think this is key to what we all do, ensuring that our girls have equal education and they're never afraid to do.
Just give me 1 second, please. Just
okay.
I'm so sorry. Right. You okay? Are you back on? Okay.
Yes, so that's basically what perhaps we could do is if there's anybody who wants to have a conversation, because I suppose in gatherings like this, you find when you ask people to ask questions, they're a bit shy and they're pulling back. But if I don't know how many people are in situations where they can actually have a conversation, and how many more minutes we have. But I could just, if I go to Mrs. Taibat Fadari, I'm not putting you on the spot, ma'am. Yes, I know, I see your reaction. I just want to have a quick chat with you, right? You're here and I want to engage with you. So if you please unmute her. If you go to Mrs. Taibat.
Mrs. Taibat.
Yes, Fadari. Can you find her? Or you can unmute yourself, ma'am. I'm not putting you on the spot. We're just going to have a nice conversation.
I see her. Okay.
And yes, can you please unmute yourself, ma'am? Can you help her do that?
So you just on it.
Okay, I think she's trying to find a better place for, maybe there's a bit of background noise there or something. So while she's getting herself set, so I think I started something. I see people disappearing now. I'm just going to pick somebody as well. And it would be great if we can just have a chat. Let me see who else. This is a random picking. So please, you know the way we say it in Nigeria, don't fall my hand, please. Mrs. Fadari, are you ready, please?
Mrs. Taibat, if you just click on
you need to click on unmute.
On that, it says ask, what does it say? It says,
yes, there you go. Hello, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, madam. Delighted to be chatting with you.
Yes, ma.
You're representing a school.
Yes.
What's the name of your school, ma'am?
Isolo Senior High School.
Isolo Senior High School. Your girls were in the conference yesterday.
Okay.
Yes, I think I remember seeing comments from your school.
Hello, ma.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, ma'am? Okay,
I can hear.
Oh, very good. She can hear me now. She's frozen. Yes, she's back. Can you hear me now, ma'am?
No.
I can hear you.
Very good. Very good. So tell us, in your opinion, I hope you can hear me and that it's not frozen. But in your opinion, what do you think? One thing, just give us one thing, not a list, but one thing that you think, as a society, we need to do more for the girl child. Just one, in your opinion. So it's not a right or wrong answer. It's just an opinion.
I think we should encourage our girls.
Encourage.
Counsel them, yes, and counsel them regularly.
When you say counseling, ma, what form of counseling are you advising? Is it to bring them to somebody, or is it for them to feel comfortable enough to speak to teachers, or is it to speak to their parents? What form of counseling are you advising, and who should it be coming from?
They should be confident enough to speak to their parents and to the teachers, to confide in the teachers, because some of them, they cannot maybe confide in their parents. So, but when they have a teacher in the school that they believe in, they can confide in them.
Thank you so much.
Because I remember when I was a vice principal at Ilupeju Senior Grammar School, there was a girl there being abused by a co-tenant, a friend to his father. So we interviewed the girl and she told us everything. We even tried to invite the man, but he didn't show up. He sent somebody. We insisted that he should come himself. The man he sent said that he cannot read and write. And we told him that we don't really need that. He should appear, that whatever we are asking him, he can help him to write it down. But the man did not show up.
Thank you so much, ma, for sharing that. And even just from that, you have generated quite a number of key points. One being that teachers, that the girls should be able to go to the teachers they believe in, the teachers they trust. And trust is not something that comes or suddenly. It's built with time. It means perhaps they have consistently and repeatedly gone to that teacher and they found that that teacher is reliable. So the few key things that come with earning the trust of the student. There's reliability when they go to the teacher, and then the teacher. So I'm saying this so that we can all benefit from it as leaders in our schools, that the teachers then must also have listening skills. This is one thing that I train on, listening. Now, we all know how to speak, right? Here I am speaking, and several people have spoken, and sometimes we teach people how to speak, but sometimes we're not so great at listening. Listening itself is a skill. I learned how to listen from my 4-year-old son a couple of years ago. And here I was on this day in the kitchen making lunch at dinner. And he came to me, he was only 4 years at the time. And he was talking and telling me about the school day. And I said, yes, please go on. And suddenly he shouted, Mom, you're not listening. And I looked at him, I thought, what do you mean? Of course I'm listening. I said, I can hear you, go on. He said, I know you can hear me, but you're not listening. So there's a difference between hearing and listening. Listening requires focus. Listening requires just logging out all the distractions and focusing on the speaker. So if our girls are to trust the teacher they go to, that teacher then must be able to make time for them. Every time they come to you, they must feel, yes, I have the attention, I have the ears of this person, whether it's my principal or my teacher or my vice principal. They must know that they've got your attention. So listening is key. And then the school, our girls must see school as a haven, a place they can come to gladly and want to share. I remember growing up and some of my classmates when I was in primary school, in secondary school, they never wanted to go home. I never knew why until we were older. Some of them would want to come to my house. They never wanted to go home because they were afraid of home. But they were always delighted when we were going to school in the morning, walking to school. No, school has to be a haven for students so that they know they can come, not just to learn, but also to share and to pour. Right. And it has to feel like a safe space for our students. School has to feel like a safe space for our girls. So I'm taking from what you said, ma'am, that we need to encourage our girls. We need to also counsel them. And all of these things that have been mentioned are key to achieving that. And you mentioned building their confidence. Confidence comes from knowing, comes from a place of knowledge. When you know that you know that you know, you will speak with confidence. And so we need to encourage our girls that what they're about to speak to us, they shouldn't be afraid to speak it. We need to create that safe space and safe environment for our girls. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. God bless you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
And please keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Ma. This has been a wonderful interactive session. I would like to call up Marian as well, Marian Ogundairu, to also share with us some of our experience and some of our great nuggets of wisdom. And then we'll collate everyone's thoughts, everyone's questions, and everyone's view. Marian Ogundairu is a business strategist and digital transformation consultant here in the UK, where she runs her own very successful consulting organization, and she spends a lot of time mentoring and coaching other girls as well to help them become a better version of themselves. So Marian, up to you now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. It's been such an amazing 2 days. All the speakers, every single speaker, and of course, Councillor Yemi Adenuga, thank you so much for the wisdom. The funny thing is, first of all, I'll just start with myself. Like I said yesterday, there's we're talking about a lot of girls and how you were actually told that the girls were not going to be amounted to much, you're not going to amount to anything. Now, I come from a family where my father and every single of us had to pay for us and believe that his girls could do anything, you know. And but you know, so I think the point I'm making here is that no matter what is thrown at you, right, you can go either way. It's a decision that is made. And you know how our girls are brought up from the foundation, and the things that surround them that can impact them, people that surrounded with, you know, there's so many factors that can play into the success of our girls. But obviously the foundation is so key. That's why I applaud people like the counselor that actually, you know, broke that barrier even without the encouragement and, you know, found her own way. The other thing I want to speak to that you mentioned as well is about counselors in school. I have a cousin who is a counselor originally, but she went on to counsel in a school, right? And I was asking her, I was talking to her, I said, what do you actually counsel these girls? You know, I was interested. What do you actually say to them? Because I come from a family of girls, I've gone to girls' school, everything. And she thought about it and she said to me, she said one thing that she finds out with the girls is that they cannot speak, their parents don't know them. They cannot tell their parents some things. They tell the teachers, they tell the counselors some things, and they cannot tell their parents. So like one of the teachers said earlier on, you're acting as a second parent to these girls. You know, the principals, the teachers, they trust you, you know, because sometimes it's difficult for us to go to our parents and talk to them, you know, because we think our parents, you know, like the counselor mentioned, wants us to be or adopt. You don't want to do that. I have a sister that you know, she wanted to I have a sister that went in for engineering, and she was the only female, and she couldn't cope with the being that, and she changed the statistics. But it was quite a big deal. We had a meeting in my family. Why do you want to change from? Why do you want to switch from engineering? And I have another sister that was, my parents wanted to study medicine. She said, no, I want to nurse people. I don't want to study medicine. I want to be a nurse. And we found out that, you know, they flourished best doing what they wanted to do. So that's what I want to speak to that. But I also want to speak to, as a woman, as a female in technology, because my background is in technology. I've been in for years. I've worked in consultancies for some big corporations, the top fives as well. And today, technology is in every industry. Everything that you do, there's technology. If you look at agriculture, if you look at aviation, if you look at education, you can technology. So technology is key. Now, the problem that we've always had is that girls are always, they always tell girls, even in this part of the world, that you're not going to succeed in this field because it's a male-dominated field, right? And that being female, maybe it's not really right for you. Go and do something like maybe, no. Principals, I know that you're all encouraging your girls that they can do anything they want to do, and nobody is going to actually dissuade them or tell them otherwise, that they cannot do. The same way you have amounted to who you are, because I'm sure you've gone through obstacles to get to where you were when you're saying about what it takes to be a principal in Lagos State. So I applaud you for that, and that's the same tenacity that the girls should have. We need to encourage our girls, and we will work with you from this part of the world, from anywhere we are, to get those girls going, because they are our future, right? And so you know, anyone that tells them or tries to put them down, they need self-belief, they need confidence in themselves, and they need to speak affirmations, speak things that are true of them, and let no one speak anything or anything opposite to what we believe or what they believe about themselves as well. Well, obviously we want them to believe that they can do everything. So the other thing is that women are normally paid less when it comes to salary. And that's another thing that we want to actually change. It happens, is a global problem, it's a national problem, but you know, women the more women we have in technology, the better for them. So women are also paid less. And then it also, what we find with technology as well is that because of the strains that people have, and sometimes them being told that they can't do as they can't do what the men can do, they tend to just leave the technology industry. Now, these are things that we need to change. So let's look at it. When the women are in technology, what benefits is it to society for women to be in? One of the better results with companies that actually have women in technology. Why? Because women bring a certain kind of way of thinking to the table. Women think differently from men. We are wired differently. We're equally important, but we are wired differently. Women pay attention to detail. They can focus. Men have a different approach to work. So what happens is that where you have an organization that has a diversity in gender, they're easy. It's so much easier for that organization to push up. And actually statistics show that organizations that have that gender diversity actually have better results, better profits than the top 25 quartile, and then they do 21% more nationally than other than companies that just have a dominance of male in the industry. Now, the other thing I want to say is, apart from women actually thinking differently, we have, if you look at even, maybe we won't look at technology, but it's still innovation. If you look at, there's a Madam CJ Walker, I'm sure some of you may have heard about her. She was innovative. She's a woman that came from a black, from slave descendants in the States. And what she did in a male dominated actually was the first female to be first female millionaire, black or white or orange or yellow, first female millionaire. So you see, if we bring our girls to become confident, to believe in themselves, and to encourage, no stopping them for what they can do. I know that amongst our girls, we will have some presidents, we'll have more counselors, we have more principals that we're teaching, and I'm also a product of principals. So I say thank you to all the teachers as well, because I'm here and I know that I had encouragement from my teachers. I had encouragement from home, but I also had encouragement from my teachers. So women think, and just to finish off, what I want to say is that other industries are closing the gap, right? Technology is relatively a new industry, right? So we want to ensure that we have women in technology from the start. One of the things that Google had initially with all this artificial intelligence, Google had a thing where they could not recognize that there's what we call algorithm or AI bias, where because are not represented like people or fields help us that group. Not a black face because nobody thought about it when they were creating it in the first place, and they had to go back. That's the route that we're going down. Where you don't have female representation, obviously the things that women need, they're not going to be represented. So that's what I say. And just for laughs, right over here, as you know, as some of you may or may not know, women, when you go to the female toilets, right, you have three loos for the women with closed doors, and then you go into the men's urinals, and this is a personal problem I have. You go into the men's urinals and you have 3 toilets as well and 3 urinals. I'm like, hey, it had to be a man that created that, because how will you have 6 loos for men and 3 for women when men can pee without the doors shut and women have to actually close the doors? So we don't want things like this actually happening. So we need representation of women, okay? And the society will be best for it. So we need to encourage more women in technology, and we need to get our girls ready, and it has to be a combined effort with our teachers, with our girls, with our companies, with people that are organizations. So we're all saying that we should all rally in, work together. We should encourage them to dream, yeah? And remember that they continue their affirmations. They should speak words of affirmation. Never say anything negative about themselves. No matter how they're feeling, they believe that they can do it. They come, they will see, and they will conquer. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, awesome, always on fire. Thank you for that beautiful and wonderful presentation. Even before we go to that, I would like to welcome Mrs. Augustina Beckley for our session. Augustina Beckley. She's the principal of Oshodi Senior High School. Oshodi to the world. Thank you. Over to you, Mrs. Augustina Beckley. Are you here and can you hear me? Oshodi to the world. Thank you. Over to you. Where are you?
Thank you, Mr. Olutayo. It's a great honor for me to be on this program, and I appreciate the unique opportunity. My name is Beckley Augustina Temilola, the principal of Oshodi Senior High School from Education District 6. I want to seek the indulgence of the esteemed members on this platform to start my brief session on the already existing or recognized protocol in order to save time. I was a child, a girl child, and now I'm a woman. But I'd quickly like to share two of my childhood experiences that have shaped, one, my profession and my attitude towards my children, not my biological children alone, but the students that God has committed into my hands, especially the female ones among them. When I was growing up, I had a sister, an older sister. She was very brilliant, brilliant than my older brother. But because she was a girl, my father insisted that she stayed at home for my brother to go to modern school. It was very frustrating and destabilizing for her. It was very traumatic, and I actually felt the pain because I was old enough to understand what was happening to her. Then I remember my mother, who had never, she's late now, who had never been to the four walls of a school, telling me that, look, you can never become a doctor. Don't even try to aspire to be one. You can never be a lawyer. You can never be a nurse. Because according to their own cultural mindset or limitation, they believed, and she actually said that in plain terms, that they never had time for their families, their husband and children. But then, how wrong they were, or she was, but we didn't know better. And even if I did, there was nothing I could do. I had no control over that. But thank God I'm here now, and I've been able to do my bit to improve the lot of the female students or children that are committed into my hands. For me, the challenges of the girl child in our days when we were growing up were not too different from those of the present age. But I want to say that the margin is that of the scope of their challenges. The magnitudes have actually widened, have increased. I'm talking about the female children, the girl child of today. And in the midst of that, they are more privileged, I would say, because they have more voices, like this one of the platforms, speaking for the girl child. They have more voices speaking for them, bringing awareness to the stakeholders, to the government, to the parents, to everyone connected to the girl child. They also have more voices, more people, more platforms coming up to defend them in their own different way. So for me as a teacher, as an administrator, as a vice principal, as a principal, I have been doing my bit to improve the lot of a girl child. For instance, I remember when we had to face the consequences, the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the schools, almost all the schools in Lagos State, public schools, had to go on online teaching. Some Zoom, some just no voice and all that. And in my location, most of the parents, according to them, could not afford internet-enabled phones. Most of them even had challenges subscribing to data. So I remember getting some of my colleagues together. We had to call the parents. Some of them, we had them to go, to contribute little money you know, they were paying installments. We had to assist them so that 2 or 3 children could log in just for us to have about 3 hours online teaching every day. Then I had to use my personal money to subscribe to data, just to make sure that those students who were willing, the girls that were willing, were not actually deprived because of their background, because of the financial constraints of their parents. And I want to encourage every stakeholder, no matter the level. But before I get to that, researchers have shown that governments, especially in the developing countries, capacity in transmitting and dissemination of information in learning. But the most shocking thing is that they have not, you know, provided enough or sufficient enabling environments, enough facilities, enough opportunities for the girl child to really come up and take their place in terms of technology and, you know, be at par with their male counterparts. So for me, and I'm encouraging other educators, other stakeholders in their own little way to begin to become more responsive, to begin to become more alive, more responsible to the needs and the challenges of the girl child. Personally, I want to do my bit with the resources committed into my hands by my district, by my government, to help the girl child, not the girl child alone, but I want to focus more on the girl child because I know that they are disadvantaged when you compare them with their male counterparts. I want to really encourage them. I want to sensitize them. I want to encourage them to build up their confidence, to move away from the norm of their cultural limitations, maybe by parents, by the society, by their background, or whatever, that they should see themselves as not different from their male counterparts. That what the male counterparts are doing, if they put their minds to it, if they are focused, if they are willing, if they are ready, if they are determined, will they help up the government and every one of us that is ready? The sky will be their starting point. So in our own little way, our financial resources, we could help them, those who are less privileged. One phone, even if it's 2 months, can help a child or two. Subscribing to data for them to be able to learn, even in the comfort of their home. Especially at this time when we have to live with the reality of the new normal brought on us by the consequences, the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some of the students have to come to schools on certain days. Some of them have to stay at home to learn. So what happens to those who cannot afford it? We need to rise up and begin to use our resources to assist them so that they will not be left behind. ICT is a powerful tool in information dissemination as a learning tool. Everything that we need to do in this 21st century, we need ICT. So we don't want our girl children to be left behind. Thank you. Thank you once again for the opportunity. I want to appreciate His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State. I want to appreciate our #1 citizen in Education Ministry, our mother, our Commissioner, Mrs. Adebusuyi. I want to appreciate my TG for nominating me, for believing in me, even with the little that I have to offer to come on this program. And I want to appreciate the convener and every member of the organizing group of this program. Thank you once again.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Beckley. I said it. Oshodi to the wall. Thank you for that awesome presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, Miriam. Our time is fast spent. We're almost done. We have like 5 to 6 minutes to end this session. Over to you, Miriam. Miriam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank
I can hear
you.
you.
Over to you. Yeah, your final words, so that we can end this session. And final word from Councillor Yemi, and so that we can take a group photograph today before we start serving item 7, item number 7.
Okay, so my final words, is it to close? We're not closing yet, are we? So what I want to say is we've heard so many powerful words today. Yeah, so I think we just need to go away and be thankful that we've, from today our lives have changed, even if it's that 1%. I've learned from you as well and from other people. And as we go away, we continue this spirit of togetherness, of building our girls. And as we build our girls, we know that we're building ourselves as well. Because I feel very strong. I feel very strongly about this because, like I said, I come from a family of girls, right? And I've been to 13 different schools in my life, schools and universities in Nigeria and abroad. So I feel really close to teachers. I really appreciate you. And I believe that we should continue to appreciate each other as well. And just take those words that we've heard today, words of wisdom, words of encouragement, words of affirmation, the power, the importance. And yeah, so thank you, everybody. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. And Councillor, your final words today.
Thank you very much. And once again, I want to say massive congratulations to the team of DoTheDream for putting this together so brilliantly for a successful event. I mean, by every standard, this has been very successful. You should be very proud. I said this to you yesterday, and I'm saying it again. Well done to yourself and your team. It's not something that happens all of the time. I suppose it's new for a number of people in Lagos, perhaps in Nigeria, but you've started something that I believe should be sustained. And the key then would be the sustainability of this initiative, ensuring that regularly, perhaps the next level will be creating a platform where students, teachers, the headmasters and
Sorry, the host, you muted me.
Okay. A platform. Can you hear me? Yes, very good. Creating a platform, perhaps this platform then, becomes a continuation. It's a continuum where they can come together and network and share ideas, and leverage on the level of work they deliver within the different areas. I think it's something that should be sustained. So well done. I want to congratulate all the principals that are here today for just taking part alone. You've taken your school to a different level. Being able to share this with your students and tell them that you were part of this great initiative, I can guarantee you your students will be very proud of you, because you should be very proud that you've been here today. And you're literally taking what we've been talking about IT, and you're practicalizing it. You're not just talking the talk, you have walked the talk today. You have made it obvious that where there's a will, there's a way. It's doable, and you've done it. So then my word to you will be, take this that you've achieved today and bring it to your school. Where there's a will, there's a way. I really, really want to commend Mrs. Beckley and all the other principals here who have been very proactive in supporting their girl students in the schools. Yes, I know you support every other student, but we're focusing on the girls. For just being creative and innovative and being, you're just going out of your way to give of yourself, not just emotionally, but financially. The good Lord will bless you all. The good Lord will reward you all. There's so many, I believe, who are on this platform who didn't get a chance to share of what they're doing. And I believe you're all doing incredible things. I want to encourage you to keep up the good work. Your reward is no longer in heaven.
Thank you, Mr. Adenuga.
All right. Your reward is no longer in heaven. It is here on earth. I am the reward for a teacher who sowed into my life a number of years ago. And he is ever so blessed for that. And so you will be blessed for every single piece of work you do with the young girls. So on a final note, I want to ask you, what will your students say of you in 10 years? When they've left your school and they've moved on and they've graduated and they're probably married, or in 15 years, they've become mothers and students and they start to share the stories. What will they say of you? And so what that means for me is you need to begin to build your consistency, the things you say that your students can say, oh, when I was in school, my headmistress used to say this to us. So it becomes like a mantra that you encourage and inspire and motivate them with all the time. And that, in essence, helps them to become. So with what you say, what are they going to say of you? With what you do, what are they going to say of you? What is that one thing?
Oh, sorry, I want to start my video.
So what is that one thing they will say of you as their principal that they remember and will always remember of you? And then what is that one thing that you will encourage them with as individuals? Can I just say here, we as individuals cannot change the entire world, but we can impact one person, one. And when you impact one, you impact many. You know, they always say when you educate a girl child, you educate a nation. You impact one, you impact many. The reason is there's a ripple effect. That one girl will bring that impact to thousands across the globe. One teacher inspired me and impacted my life. And today, I mentor over 10,000 girls across different parts of the globe. One teacher did that, and that's the ripple effect. What that means that then is that's his reward. That's the work he did. So how many are you going to impact through one? And what I'm asking of you is find that one girl, those two girls, those three girls. I'm not talking about all the girls in your school, but that 1, 2, 3, whatever the number is, but a minimal number of girls that you see clearly have potentials, and begin to invest in their lives however you think you can. I'm not talking necessarily about money. I'm talking about impacting, so that when they are telling their success story, you become a part of that success story. You have many young girls in your hands today, but how many would tell you as part of their story? Today, I tell Mr. Ogumbomeyin, Shegun Ogumbomeyin is his name, and I speak of him proudly. He is part of my success story. I can never tell my story without him. There are several other teachers, but he was the one who stood out for me. And he had many students, but he invested in me. So find that 1, 2, 3, 4 that can make you part of their history when they're grown. Thank you all so much. Congratulations again. Do the dream. I am super proud of you. I'm glad to be affiliated with this organization. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of work with all the principals here today. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of work with Lagos State. And I believe that together we will impact many more girls in Lagos. Lagos is the model. So we need to highlight that model. We need to shine the light on that model in Nigeria. And there's a wave going around in Nigeria with the, NSAS, as it were. So the future is going to be different. We need to position our girls now for that future. There's a new future, whether we like it or not, but we need to position our girls for that future and shine the light on Lagos State. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Yemi Adenuga Energy. Motion indeed. Thank you so much for that final presentation. Awesome. Always inspiring. Always. Thank you so much for doing that. We love you. And we've come to the end of this session. International Day International Youth Development Initiative, Lagos State Government, District 6. We're using this opportunity to thank the TGPS, to thank the Honorable Commissioner, Mrs. Omobola Adebusuyi, the Honorable Commissioner, for giving us this win. The TGPS, Mrs. Olutayo Olumadewa, our beautiful mommy who keep listening. Thank you for listening to us. Want to thank Riina Pursianen from Prime Minister's Office, and also to Energy in Motion, Iperu to the whole world. Thank you for modeling excellence. Want to thank the director Okuni, Mrs. Okuni, all the principals. Want to thank Director Legbeti. Want to thank Mrs. Olaide, Mr. Jamiu, the students, for all of you for attending this conference. Want to thank all the principals for presenting today, Mrs. Adeshola, Mrs. Beckley, and all of you. Thank you for giving us this needed voice to inspire our world. Thank you all, and thank you. God bless you. I want every one of us to switch on our video so that we can have a photo session before we start sharing item 7, item 11, because we are sharing item 11 here now. Everyone should turn on your video so we can do that now. We need to do that. Turn on your video. Let's see you. 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 Don't worry. We are serving now. They are bringing your own plate of rice. Miss Oyele, I can see you. Taiba Fadari, I can see you. Rachel Adeshola, I can see you. Remi Alonge, I can see you. Oluwakemi, okay. I can see Okuni Yetunde. Hey, Mr. President of DoTheDream, Tony Aromire, you are back. Okay. Over to you.
Yes,
Mr. President, over to you. Tony Aromire, over to you. You need to say 1, 2.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Tayo. All I can say is, I really appreciate everyone from the Honorable Commissioner to the Tutor General, Permanent Secretary, to the principals and all the teachers, Councillor Yemi, Marian, everyone who has been able to make this event a very, very successful and wonderful one. We truly appreciate you. We believe that all the words that we've shared today and yesterday will be very, very will play a very key role in our lives moving forward. And for all the students that were present as well, I'm sure that they will leave today saying, yes, something positive has happened in my life. And I always like to add a few nuggets before I leave. Yesterday I said something. I said the beauty of our dreams, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But I would like to add to that for all of us, and what I really want to add is to say, if we take one step every day of our life, at the end of the year, we'll be 365 steps better than where we started, and we'll be 365 steps better than those that never do anything. So this is just a way to encourage everyone that when we leave here today, those practical tips, those practical and wonderful pieces of information that has been shared by all the wonderful people, we should implement, take something and implement in our lives. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, His Excellency Oluwatoyin Aromire. Thank you for that. Now we've come to the end of the program. You can all unmute so that we can all share item 11. I hope you can get the food. You can share item 11. Wow. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Photo session is here now. We are taking short photos. for taking shot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you, Vivian Shaw. I can. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, wow, big thank you. Gotta go now. Thank you, I believe in now. Thank you. So, we good.
Ẹ máa rí leave lókè báyìí.